You've probably never heard about Chuang Tzu, a Chinese sage who lived 2,500 years ago. But he had a famous phrase, easy is right, that has stood the test of time and is still full of wisdom. This is gonna be the topic of this video. Easy is right. What does this mean? If we think about the nature wants to go where there's least resistance. A tree grows upwards, or if there's an obstacle, it just tries to go around it. A river tries to go straight, but if there's something, it starts to go around it. And then when we think about humans, we have a tendency to make things so complex that we essentially create problems for ourselves. And this is why I want to talk about easy is right, because it's true. When we start to follow this rule in life, we start to see that most of our problems can be either dissolved or you can go around them. But our mind, especially people who wants to think a lot, we get caught up in complexities. We want things to be complex because our mind gets a kick out of that, and it feels like we are productive or something when we're thinking about these difficult and complex things. What if I tell you that that's the biggest problem? What if I tell you that the solutions are really close by? We just don't want to see it because it's too easy. One of the ways we can start see these easy solutions again is by removing importance on the problem or the solution. If we think about an issue and we make it less important, the solution may become obvious because we are so conditioned to think that life has to be hard, it has to be difficult, you have to struggle. What if that's the biggest illusion? I've started to live by this rule, easy is right, and do things that are easy for me, and everything changes. I don't pressure myself. I'm not too stressed. I don't get overwhelmed. And I actually feel more fulfilled by coming up with easy solutions than having to strain myself and be tired and suffer and just go through this immense pain to overcome an obstacle. The problem is very often that we try to overcome the obstacle. We have to go over it. What if we can dissolve the obstacle or go around it? One rule of thumb you can use is when you make decisions. If it feels off, you say no. If it's somewhere in between, you say no. If it's yes, you say yes. This theory will eliminate a lot of excess energy that you use, especially in the in-between things. When we are indecisive, that's where we use up a lot of our potential and energy because we get confused, we start to doubt, we start to overthink, and we're like, oh, I don't know. What if you decide that every time if something is in between, you say no, and you only say yes to those things that are hell yeah. It makes life so much easier. But as you know, probably from your own life, I know from my life that the mind wants to have something to do. The mind is like, no, let's challenge this. Let's go and see. Let's compare. Let's analyze. Let's dig into this. But what happens? You just use energy that you could use to find the hell yeah solution. You see what I mean here? It's just a simple change in perspective and attitude. And when you start following those things that are clearly a yes to you, life becomes easier by default. And if you have a thing that you need to do, think about how you can do it, because sometimes it's not about what we do, it's about how we do the thing. Take a step back and think about, oh, how could I create this thing? How could I solve this problem differently and not bang my head against the wall and suffer? There's always an easy solution to every problem. It's just about perspective. But if you are caught up in your mind and if you're stubborn, you can easily waste a lot of time and energy just to kind of juggle different solutions. But that won't get you anywhere, right? And if you start living by the rule of, okay, hell yeah, that's the thing that I do, things start to flow. It's like the river. The river only goes where it's a hell yeah. Otherwise, it stops and waits for the easiest solution to present itself. And then there's a thing called unfair advantages. This is our unique abilities and properties that we have as humans. Everybody has positive aspects to themselves, and these are unfair advantages that we have compared to other people. These are the things that are there for a reason. We are supposed to learn to use who we are. If you're really good at speaking, you should probably use that. If you're really tall, maybe you can play basketball or volleyball or something like that. Maybe if you're really musical, you should go do that. The problem is that so many people are conditioned to do something that their parents want, that society wants, that their religion wants, that some external thing wants. They forget about themselves. They suppress their natural unfair advantages and they keep on struggling in life. The river is a river, whatever you say it should be. It doesn't turn into a bird. A bird is not a fish. If you try to say to the bird that you need to be a fish and go swimming, obviously it will struggle a lot. So take a look at yourself and your life and write down, journal, what kind of unfair advantages do you have? And they can be physical, they can be mental, they can be status in a certain community, they can be that you have rich parents, they can be all sorts of things. But when you find your unfair advantage and you start to follow that, especially when it feels good, you will start to thrive in life, because you don't have those things, you are tall or you are short or you are whatever, just on random. You're supposed to use it somehow. Why would you have that otherwise? So the more you can flow with life, the easier it becomes. And I don't say that you have to just throw yourself in the flow and just do nothing. It's more about going with the flow and steering the boat while you're traveling down the river. That's the flow. And then you can just go and see and steer and make some corrections. But you don't want to try to go uphill. You don't want to go against the flow, because that's going to be a lot of struggle. The bird don't know how to swim as good as the fish. And when you decide that you are fine, there's nothing wrong with you, you have your properties, you have your unfair advantages, and you start using them, you naturally become authentic. And that's when you become magnetic to those things that will support you in life. This is how you find your place. This is how you find your purpose, when you actually know who you are, you accept who you are, and you start playing the games with those things that are easy for you. Easy is right. And if you make this a rule, you will see that life becomes a lot easier when you just start to make decisions by hell yes or no. And I know what some of you might be thinking. Yeah, easy for you to say. You can just do that and live a life like you do. But I've actually done a lot of work on myself to realize who I am and to go with the things that feel natural to me, to start following the flow. And I used to be stuck in a really negative place for a long time, and I realized that I need to wake up. I need to change my attitude. I need to realize there's nothing wrong with me, and then I need to create a new habit of becoming more positive. Being negative is a habit, and you can't take away the habit. There's nothing wrong with you. You just need to replace the habit with being more positive. There's this experiment called the red car theory, and if you wake up and you decide that you're gonna look for red cars that day, you're gonna encounter a lot of red cars and you're gonna see red cars everywhere. The same happens when you wake up and decide that you are gonna look for positive things. You are going to start seeing positive things. The only issue is that we are so conditioned by the news, by society, by religion, by all these different dogmas that you should look for negative things. And that's why we are hooked on negative things, and that creates a negative spiral in our lives that is really hard to get out of if you try to struggle and improve yourself. You have to go with the flow. You have to go where it's easy, and that is changing your mindset to start looking for positive things. And slowly, when you do that over a period of time, you will become a positive person that has a positive life. That's what we all want, right? We want to have a good life that feels good. And we all have the power to create that. We just have to be conscious enough. We have to wake up from the negativity and see that we are more powerful than we thought, and we can choose positivity instead of negativity. We don't have to change any behavior or anything. We can just change the perspective, change the lens which through we see life, and that will slowly but surely bring a positive world and life to us. Try it out for yourself. You don't have to believe me, but I know from experience that it's working for me, and I just want to share good things with you that I truly know that works. And if you've made it this far and you still doubt yourself that this isn't possible, I don't know if I can do this alone, you can apply for my coaching. We can just have a call to see if I can even be the right person for you, and then we'll take it from there. But I know for a fact that anyone can change regardless of their situation. There is always a hope, because we have the power to change how we see the world, how we think about the world. And the moment we realize that power is the moment we take control of our reality. Thank you for watching. My name is Smits. I hope to see you in a future video. Peace out.